Howdy, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. For the uninitiated, here's how it works. I have just left the cinema. It's that way. And I've seen a film, and I'm going to talk to you about it on my way home. Because it's a safe side from everybody that way. Streamlined. And today we're here to talk about Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Okay, so, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Okay, so here's the deal. In our reboot, sequel, prequel, remake, reimagining, plagued world, that's the true Contagion. Steven Soderbergh's movie has nothing on remake plague. But as we are in the grips of the remake plague, Fox has seen fit to reboot, essentially go back to the beginning of what caused Planet of the Apes. Because you had the long-running series from before that Charlton Heston kicked off, and then you had the Tim Burton remake, which nobody knew quite what to do with. So now you have this. Now, first of all, synopsis, I guess. Synopsis is... turn those lights off. Synopsis is, well, James Franco plays a scientist that is looking for a cure to Alzheimer's, and nobody can argue with him about that. And he finds something in tests on primates that basically brings about a chimpanzee named Caesar. And Caesar is a bit of a badass in the intelligence department, and so, thinking that he has a cure, he proceeds, but then, for lack of not wanting to spoil anything, even though in the trailer, I guess you could sum it up with hijinks ensue, or things go very bad, or it turns out worse than he thought, all those things. So, I mean, that's basically it. Intelligent primates, well, we're primates, but you know what I mean, chimpanzees, apes, whatnot, running amok and causing distress. That's a crap synopsis, but that pretty much sums it up. Okay. What's interesting about the lead up to this film is that, on one hand, when you're dealing with the remake plague, any remake is filled, you just look at it and you go, why are you doing that? I mean, honestly, they show, okay, first, for example, they showed a trailer for The Sitter with Jonah Hill, and I thought, I swear to God, I thought, is this the Adventures in Babysitting remake? But it's not. It's The Sitter. Looks mildly amusing. But anyway, but you understand my fear. Our first inclination is, oh my God, a remake. And not, again, I say, we all go, oh Jesus, remakes, but not all remakes are bad, right? I mean, not, you know, John Carpenter's The Thing was a remake. Batman Begins was a reboot. Casino Royale with Daniel Craig was a reboot. So, it's rare, but there are good ones, okay? And in fact, some are excellent. So, on one hand, but still, the obvious initial response to any remake is, oh, hell. Are they doing that? So there's that. But then you go, okay, Wade is doing it. They're good. Interesting. And you say, huh, Andy Serkis is playing Caesar. Andy Serkis, who can mocap better acting than most people can do without a suit. And the guy behind me apparently doesn't know what brake lights are. This is instructional. Anyway, but basically, so there were signs of going, okay, this could be interesting. Now, they released 2 trailers, which I've talked about on podcasts and so forth. The first trailer was basically a when animals attack sort of trailer. You get to see, very quickly, apes running amok and stuff, right? So, you go, okay, when animals attack, there's something to be said for a good when animals attack film, right? You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for even the most ludicrous of When Animals Attack films, a la Night of the Lepus, right? Even some of those horrible 80s direct-to-video things like, I don't know, well, not direct-to-video, but Food of the Gods, right? We talked about this in the podcast. Even some horrible ones like The Nest and Slugs and just horrible ones. There's just something appealing about it. So you go, okay, if they want to make the budget I read was $90 million, probably more than that, but if you want to make a $90 million When Animals Attack film, fine, okay, sure. Then they came out with a second trailer. And the second trailer painted the film, it really worked the Alzheimer's cure angle. And the idea of what the reason James Franco's character is undergoing this quest to try to find the cure for personal reasons. And it made it look like some kind of, I don't know, heartfelt, heartwarming story that just happens to devolve into a When Animals Attack film. And then I started going, I don't know, that doesn't look so good. Now, I don't know if this was planned to catch you off guard, but the film is neither of those things, the way I'm viewing it. And I almost don't even want to tell you what it actually is, even though you could probably guess if it's not that and it's not that, and you go back and you watch the trailers knowing it's not, you'll probably guess. But I almost don't want to tell you because I think that part of it is the most pleasant surprise of all. Now, there's a lot of pleasant things going on. The bottom line is, to cut the suspense, it's not crap. I think I enjoyed it a lot better than Rob did. Rob gave a review on Weekend Justice. But I was surprised that I enjoyed the film as much as I did. And I enjoyed, I'll talk more about Andy Serkis in a second, but Andy Serkis can hardly be called a pleasant surprise at this point because he is a known quantity when it comes to bringing characters to life through mocap and CG. He really is an artist. The most pleasant surprise for me was seeing that it wasn't the film that I thought it was, either of the films. It was a third thing, and that third thing is much more interesting. And in fact, I think the story itself does itself a disservice by having to be tied to Planet of the Apes. Does that make any sense? I almost feel like, and I know it's supposed to be this brand new story, and I can see they set it up to where they could take it in new directions, new interesting directions, and there's something to be said for that. There's also something to be said for the fact that they felt comfortable enough to not tie it up neatly at the end. I mean, it seems like it's tied up, but it's not neat. It's not, through the film, I was expecting they'd set it up to be a kind of very neat, tied up with a bow ending. And let's face it, we know the ending. I mean, we're talking about this on the podcast of certain films, when you know the ending, you have a really hard time, you get impatient. You're just like, can we just skip to the end because I know what's coming? And there's certain cases where you can get around that. I mean, there was enough going on in the movie Titanic where even though you knew what was going to happen, at least for me anyway, I enjoyed the journey to get there. But I say enjoyed; it was an absolute disaster that what happened in the film. But you know what I'm saying? It was a good movie-going experience. You go to see a good production of Hamlet. And you don't sit there and go, I wish we'd just get to the soldiers shoot and get it over with. I mean, you could. I mean, you could go to a really bad production and just be begging for it. But, I mean, you know what I mean? So there is precedent for knowing the ending and it being good anyway. So there's no spoilers involved. They've said this is Rise of the Planet of the Apes. We know that we lose. Ultimately, we lose. We, humans, we lose. So you have to kind of set that up to where, even though you know the ending, you give a damn about getting there. And the film actually does a couple things really well. First of all, they bring in Andy Serkis, who, if they did not have Andy Serkis and the other mocap actors who are doing the other primary ape characters, the film would completely fall on its ass. because you start off with James Franco, who is obviously the worst scientist in recent memory. His character is just blisteringly dumb. There is something they miss in the beginning of the film that you just simply would not miss. And even if you missed it, somebody else would pick it up. You can't tell me an entire lab full of people missed this one little detail. And when you see the film, you'll probably be scratching your head too, going, what the hell? All right, who's this guy doing? He's pulling off to the side, I guess he picks up big things of rubber from semis. This is weird driving Wayhomer. I'm sorry, I'm doing a review of Atlanta traffic at the same time. Where the hell was I? Oh yes, so through all the little bumps of waiting to get to things accelerating, the thing that keeps you interested is Andy Serkis and his performance. Because, honestly, I watched the second trailer, and there are bits of that CG where you could just go, I mean, it's like Uncanny Valley territory, which seems weird when you're talking about an ape character, but I mean, you know, a chimpanzee, I mean, but it's there, but he's so good. I kept being more fascinated by his performance than I was by the film. So when the film lost me, I didn't completely come out of the film because he was keeping me there. Because he's just that good. So there was that, and there was the whole subplot of the Alzheimer's cure thing, which admittedly, there were some rough moments for me in there, because it's very evident, if I'm not giving anything away, it's obvious in the trailer. John Lithgow's character has Alzheimer's. And so, if you have had a loved one with it, you're going to have some rough moments. I'm just warning you. So, you have Andy Serkis and you have this subplot going on of what's going on with this cure thing, which are interesting enough to carry you through to the ending. There's enough interesting things going on. So it does that well. I think part of the reason why I'm not going to score it any higher than I am is because I think while it does a lot of things well, it does a lot of things a little lazily. And by that I mean it would be nice to have a I don't know. It just seems so easy to have a character who is, only interested in profit and testing be damned and whatever else. That seems too easy. It's much more interesting to have a character who is personally invested and maybe is doing stupid things because, he's emotionally invested and feels compelled to do so. But just the whole, we're going to do this and we're going to move ahead and we're going to do mad scientist stuff because we want to turn a profit. I mean, even though that's probably sadly accurate, it just seems a bit too easy. And I wish they had done a little bit more with that. So, anyway, I'm struggling to see what else I can say about it here. I will say that it was a good movie. It was not a great movie. It could have done some other things to make it a great movie, but I actually enjoyed it better than I thought I would. And like I said, that's primarily due to Andy Serkis and his performance, even more so than the people at Weta, because there were moments in which I forgot that I was watching a CG construct. You know what I mean? And if you did not have him in that role, honestly, the entire thing falls apart. So they should be very grateful, and I hope Andy Serkis is getting paid well. Well, here's the deal. Two things. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5, which is in essence a positive review. I was going to give it 2.5, but I got to give it an extra half for Serkis because he is very impressive. Even more so than the CG, because if you weren't so distracted by his performance and how well it was coming through, I honestly think you'd be sitting there going, wow, this is so completely CG. Because it's less obvious in the fully, if this makes sense, the fully ape non-Caesar characters, but the fact that Caesar is so human-like, I guess, in some of his actions, it just sticks out. But the CG apes, the others, look very, very real. And Caesar, at times, I could have been distracted by the quality of CG were I not already distracted by his performance. So 3 out of 5 cups. I mean, here would be my suggestion. It's not a bad film, okay? If you need to go see something this weekend, sure, that's fine. Go see a matinee. Would you be able to watch it at home? Sure. But what I would suggest, in all honesty, is, even though it's not a bad film, I spent $11 to go see it. Take whatever money you would have put towards a movie ticket and instead give it to the Alzheimer's Association. Honestly. Because the only thing scarier than apes rising up and trying to kick your ass is your own brain rising up to kick your ass. That doesn't make any sense from a physical point of view, but you understand what I'm saying. So that's what I would say, and I will make a note to my slightly older self who will be putting this together to put the website up right about now. So go there. I don't know what it is offhand. I'll have to look it up. Older self, look it up. Put it on the screen. So yeah, not a bad film, but your money could be better spent. And if you ever see Andy Serkis, take some other money and buy him a drink. So there you go. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. It'll be interesting to see if they make enough money to do a second film. I honestly think they will. Maybe not. It won't do, like, sadly, it won't do Smurfs numbers, but I think it'll do well enough. So anyway, but the interesting places they could take it. So there you go. Yes, so that's it for Rides of Planet of the Apes. What else can I tell you? Oh, I want to say thank you to those of you who have recently, stepped up to become sponsors and support Need Coffee. I do appreciate it. Mighty Bill and Jennifer P. and Aruka are some of the people who have recently re-upped or upped themselves as sponsors, and they make all of this possible. That's why all of this is free for you. So those of you who are reader-supported, it's a reader-supported website. So those of you who do support us, we do appreciate it. And if you go to needcoffee.com/membership for the one-time deal, which gives you some goodies, or the needcoffee.com/support, where you can set up a PayPal-like thing that will pay small amounts each month. I do one of these a week. Like I said, it's about 99 cents a video, even though there's other stuff on the site that it helps pay for. Helps to pay for. I need something myself. I'm certainly not as intelligent as an ape. So thank you to everyone who does that. Even if you cannot donate, if you do share these through Google Plus or Facebook or Twitter or anything, if you carve them on a wall you own, please don't deface anything, then that helps as well. So until next time, I will be fighting my way through traffic for the rest of the way home, and I'll say be good. Bye. Oh, one last thing. I counted 3 references to the original series. Little nods back, little cute little winks at the audience. And I am the only one, from what I can tell, who noticed. Silence for all 3. I don't know if that means that nobody else got them, or this audience hadn't seen the original, or they just weren't amused, but wow, that was even more sobering than the end of mankind in some ways. Bye.